There we go. Finally. Didn't connect right away, but we got it. We're here now. So yeah, what a night of hockey it was last night. Hey Lauren, how you doing? Uh yeah, we're good now. It just took a little bit. Can you hear me all right? Everything's working. Yeah, Canes won. I had the Canes to win that game. They took it by the skin of their little teeth. Anaheim won again. Watch that game. Gibson kind of saved them, but good. Gibson kind of saved them, but really they played pretty well. Like they are playing like a well-oiled machine right now. Watch out for Anaheim this year for sure. I think they're just going to keep on getting better. Of course, no, the Oilers just absolute trash. I was so concerned. Like they have a tendency to underrate teams, and they sure did. They totally underrated that team. Hawks won. I liked that play with Fleury in net. I didn't. He was going to be up for that game because he got embarrassed the last game. But they made it close. Like I said, Chicago's going to start playing a more defensive brand of hockey, and they are. Yeah, they did it before, but I don't know. You know what I think? They put Skinner in, and it was probably going to happen, and they played like they didn't trust Skinner. And Detroit can skate with the Oilers, so they're one of the few teams. I wouldn't have put Skinner in there. Who do they got up now coming up? They got Boston, right? They got Boston coming up. I'd almost have rather them played Skinner against Boston. How come the schedule is not coming up more? How come the schedule is not coming up for a daily face-off? Let me do this. But I would have rather of them. I would have rather they played against Boston. Played Skinner against Boston. Boston's a slower team. They got some speedy guys on there, but Detroit can match you. So I don't know. I didn't think it was a good idea. Oh, that was horrible. And for a guy who's trying to make it in the league to make a play on that night, I don't know what he was doing. He passed the puck off the boards and it didn't come off his stick right, obviously, right in front of the net, and boom. Is he gone now? Because they said that was a quick investigation. Travis Hamonic is assigned to the AHL. Probably for conditioning. Wow, that's a far. Brendan Hagel out 2 weeks. Okay. Nathan McKinnon is out 3 weeks with a lower body injury. That's like Colorado this year. What is it with them? They can't stay away from injuries at all. Oh, that's got to be right up there. Might be number one. That was terrible. I don't know. What was he thinking? Like, he was obviously very nervous. even in the whole game. And if the players knew he was nervous, then that affects the way they play. But still, it's Detroit. You think that it? No, I don't think it's. They're not really that bad with the cap. Well, a little bit, I suppose. Maybe it is. I wouldn't put anything past anyone to do that. But he's got a lower body injury. They got to prove that if they say lower body injury. So no McKinnon for Colorado. What if Colorado doesn't make the playoffs this year? What if that happens? Yeah, Florida lost. I was kind of concerned with Spencer Knight playing the back-to-back when he really didn't have a good game the game before, and now he's playing. I guess they really, really, really don't want to give. Well, I said he was a terrible goaltender too, so they probably didn't have a choice. And now they got to play Pittsburgh on the road next, I think. Yeah, Carolina probably is a class of the league right now, I would say. Uh, but because if they go down with it, well, as long as Anderson holds up, I mean, if you lose your goaltenders, it's tough. Bobrovsky's playing well, and then all of a sudden he has to go on the injured reserve. So it's tough. And then now Tyler Wright, just a kid, has got to know that he's the number one, putting all the pressure on him in the world. And he didn't handle it well last night. That really was the problem. If they had good goaltending last night, they were probably in it, but they just fell apart. Now that being said, New Jersey did play very, very well, and I said I liked New Jersey this year, and I'm sticking with it. I still think they're just starting to gel now, and I'm going to be on New Jersey a lot more for sure. You can make, well, I mean, Edmonton has got to get their poop together in their head mentally. Mentally, they got to get there. Carolina is way ahead of Edmonton as far as mentally prepared for every game, and not overlooking teams and all that kind of stuff like that. Basically, Edmonton has a tough time against teams that can grind it out with you, and are fast. If they're fast, and Detroit is, they don't know what to do. They don't know how to change it around. It's not like Edmonton can now all of a sudden start playing the trap. So they got to be skating all over the ice. And against Detroit, they weren't. They were playing tentative, and I don't know what it was. It was just an absolute disaster. The beginning of that period, the first period, well, and that's the sad thing is it wasn't the worst I've seen Edmonton play, and that's what I mean by that. Like they're way too inconsistent right now. They can be on top of the world one day and an absolute disaster the next. Carolina had one bad game since when? I don't know. And even that wasn't anywhere near as bad as I've seen Edmonton play. So, like, there are times when Edmonton looks like they don't even belong in the league. Yeah, yeah. Well, everybody, like that's what you got to do is get guys to the net. Everybody knows that. The question is, how do you do it against each team? There's a strategy involved in that. The basic concept of hockey is get the pucks to the net. That's why they always say that. And they're not really telling you anything because that's the basic concept of hockey. They're just telling you the basic concept of hockey over and over again. Each team, you have to be able to adjust and do things differently in order to do that. Or you got to do the one thing you're really good at top level. And really, that's the Oilers' one thing that they're good at is skating through the neutral zone. If they're not skating through the neutral zone, they're done. Because like a team like the Islanders and stuff will just rip them apart. The only excuse for that game is they had to fly from Edmonton to Detroit, and there's a 2-hour time difference plus the time change. But they had a couple days. To me, they just looked like they had that one in the bag. They played like they had that one in the bag. That's how it looked like to me. They just played like they had that one in the bag. And then Skinner being in net, if you got a guy like Skinner in net, you got to be skating at top speed everywhere you go, because you're probably going to have to outscore your opposition, right? So trying to play defensive and protect your goaltender is, to me, not the way to go about it. And that's what it seemed like they tried to do. And Edmonton is not good at that. They don't have the guys to do that. So, yeah, they started doing what they were supposed to be doing. I flipped back and forth, but it took a period for them to get started. And that's just, it's the NHL, man. You're going to lose to anybody doing that. You can lose to Arizona doing that. You can lose that. They're still NHL players, so. They're all still NHL players, and they're all still good. And that top line, since we're talking about that a lot, because that was the big game to really highlight, surprise or whatever. I had Edmonton to win last night in reg. How do you go against them? Luckily, I pushed on the over, but Nemeshnikov got 2 goals on you. That means, you know what? If Nemeshnikov got 2 goals on you, you were they outskated you. Their fast players scored. You notice that? Larkin, Nemeshnikov, and then they came back with Puljujarvi and to make it 3-1. And then Connor McDavid had a nice goal like he usually does every game. And then the rookie Moritz Seider puts it away. But Nemeshnikov, the only way he scores, he doesn't have a great shot. He outskates you. And he's not all that physical. He's just a great skater. Really, Nemeshnikov should never score against the Edmonton Oilers. Yeah, and if you're going to come out against Detroit, I mean, these are young legs. They're young guys trying to make a name for themselves in this league. So you're going to come out and play back on your heels against them? Like, only the Islanders can get away with that. Kind of trappy type game. That's what they're all about. Carolina can probably get away with it if they want. But Edmonton, they got to be put. If I were them, the first thing I would have been doing is just dumping and chasing and hitting and hitting and hitting and hitting. And they didn't do nothing like that. They looked like they were surprised that Detroit had wheels. How can you look in the lineup? Look at their guys that they have. Larkin is a speed demon. Nemeshnikov is a speed demon. And it was pretty bad. Oh, no. Wow, I don't like that at all. Barry and Nurse together? Jeez. That's brutal. I don't like that even a little bit. Against Boston, you might be able to get away with it all right. Their defense is porous. Like they should beat Boston just like they should beat Detroit. In fact, I think there's more reason why they should beat Boston than Detroit besides goaltending. Nedeljkovic did play well last night, but still, you got to beat that goaltender in that team. And when the only thing you got to do is outskate them, because that's really the only thing they got right now. And you're the fastest team in the league, and you got beat by a team whose MO is skating, but not as good as yours. I mean, that's Carolina's got a very deep team. Like all teams would like to do that, but not everybody has a team to do that with. You know, the Boston Bruins don't really have that team. Their second and third line is pretty average, if middle into average. It's not very good. But yeah, a lot of teams would like to do that, but they don't have the manpower to do it. Carolina does though. Yeah, Nathan McKinnon is out. That I mean that's a killer for that team. Because they don't have depth as it is. Talk about depth. Colorado Avalanche would like to do that, but they don't really have the depth to do that. After they lost Saad, and who was somebody else last year? And do they ever miss Graves more than I thought? Yeah, Sean Couturier is going nuts. I can't. I got like Philadelphia tonight. I'm going Philadelphia. Now Toronto will come out and bring their A game maybe because they got shellacked. But that team is so fragile, man. That team is so fragile. If you get them on early, if you get on them early, they get flustered really quick. And Philadelphia is playing that type of game where they will get on them early. So I definitely could see Philadelphia winning that one. Yeah, Canes will beat the Flyers on a back-to-back, I think. Campbell's so inconsistent. If he goes off, yeah. But it depends on how they play in front of him, too. I mean, there's so many holes in that lineup. They basically have to hope that Marner, Nylander, and Matthews are on the top of their game. And if they are, they can beat anybody. But it happens so rarely. I mean, they won 4 or 5 games in a row. But if you look at the teams they won, they weren't all that great. And they just barely won them. And then they come up with a grinding team like LA, and they're done. They're done. Their depth just got absolutely crushed in that game. And I certainly like Philadelphia's depth more than, even without Hayes and that in there. And defense, Carter Hart's playing well. Yeah, I would say probably 65 to 70% Philly there. I think Philly wins it. At home, it's unless Carter Hart drops the ball, or Philadelphia can I don't know. I don't know. Philadelphia is going to be up for that game. It's Toronto, man. They're going to be up for that game. I can't see them coming out soft or flat for that game. That's a big game for them. So Toronto's going to have to come out. We were just talking about Toronto's going to have to outskate them, beat them to the pucks, stuff like that. Philly's not the fastest team in the world, so they're going to have to beat them to the pucks, and then spread out the offensive zone and get some shots on Carter Hart. And I'm just not confident that Toronto has the manpower to be able to do that, because even if they do beat them to the puck, Philadelphia will pin them to the boards. and make this like a rugby match. I could see this being an under. That's what they did to Washington. They just pinned them everywhere they could. I mean, there's always. I mean, yes, I'd say there's a good chance Toronto can win. I'd say 35 to 40%. Matthews, anything is possible. That guy shot. You can get Toronto with him on your team. You can get outshot and outplayed and still win the game. So. We'll see. I have a feeling for most of this year, at least, they're going to be wanting him to be simplifying his game. Simplify. Because in Buffalo, he felt like he had to be Mr. Everything. He tried to be Mr. Everything. And he's not Mr. Everything. At his best, Ristolainen is probably a 30-point guy that has the physical ability to shut down the opposition. And there's nothing wrong with that, but he's got to learn it. And he's still, he's 25 years old, and nobody's really nobody's really taught him. Yeah, Bristol might be able to get that offense back up again, but I don't think that's their main concern right now. I don't. That's if you watch him play right now, he's take the easy pass. Too far up in the offensive zone. All of that kind of stuff. Like, just keep it simple. Don't overthink it. You don't have to be everything here in Philadelphia. We got other defensemen, especially when Ellis gets back. But they're not bending. They're sticking with their plan with him, and that's a good thing to do. I mean, as long as he's doing everything he's told, and I think he's playing some of the best hockey I've ever seen him play defensively. So tomorrow's a big day. Tomorrow is a tough, there are a lot of tough games tomorrow. The Oilers Bruins, it should be tough. The Oilers should have it. Hopefully, they should be up more for that game. Flames versus Canadians. I don't know. Flames outplayed San Jose last night all game and lost the game. If they play the same way they played against San Jose, they should win. Most of the time, they should win playing like that. Especially if Allen is in net still, which I imagine he will be by the sounds of what Price is saying. He's going to take it easy. He's not going to come right back in. He's working on his own mental health, which is good for him. Kings and Senators. The Kings are on might be a little bit tired on this game. Yeah, Edmonton was terrible last night. They might be a little bit tired on that game, and Montreal has definitely been playing much more of a skating game, which they absolutely have to do because that's what they got. But I probably still got to take LA to grind that out. Back LA getting on a roll on the road. Oh, Steele is in the house. Hey, Steele, how you doing, buddy? Philadelphia Flyers don't play tomorrow? Let me see. Oh, it's not a back-to-back. Okay, I thought it was too. And then Islanders Devils. That's going to be a game to watch. I want to see what the Devils can do against these Islanders. They've been on the road a heck of a long time. They look pooched against Minnesota. I'll probably fade that game. I'm almost looking at the Devils on that one. Blackwood is playing fantastic, but that's going to be a game to watch. Watch that game for sure. Panthers versus Penguins. Now, Panthers, I got to go with the Penguins here until I see Spencer Knight feel more confident in himself. If they go with Gibson, I don't know. The Penguins played that Chicago game pretty tough. They're at home. They're hard to beat at home. Jari's playing pretty well. That would be 3 in a row loss for the Panthers if I'm correct on that one. Capitals versus Red Wings. In theory, the Capitals should be freaking, like, they got destroyed by the Red Wings the last game. In theory, they should be coming out and crushing this game. But I think the Red Wings are sitting in the weeds right now, hoping that people still think they suck, but they don't. Yeah, I watched that Chicago-Pittsburgh game too. They watched that team. They beat a very fragile. I'm starting to realize that Seattle's a very fragile team. I cannot see them beating Minnesota tonight. That would be unbelievable. Minnesota, if Minnesota's playing anywhere near the top of their game, they could absolutely make that defense go in circles. Like, they're not going to know what to do with that. They don't have the guys with the defensive minds to be able to anticipate what Minnesota is going to do in the offensive zone. I just can't see them not winning that game, even with Kakinen in, unless they, like, you got Dean Evis in there who prepares their guys as good as anyone in the league. If they somehow overlooked them or something like that, but. Yeah, Bolts versus Carolina. Yeah, that was a good game. Carolina should have had that more than they did. Vasilevsky kept them in. Again, Tampa Bay in the regular season. They're not there. And now they don't have the manpower that they even had last year. And eventually it's just going to come back and burn you. Dean could get the Jack Adams. Oh, that's interesting. 10 games in, who gets the Jack Adams right now? I'd say Sullivan. Sullivan gets it if they get in. I think so. When you think Jari just had an absolute disaster of a playoffs. They've had how many guys out of the lineup? I don't know. They can play a lot better than they played against Carolina. I know that. Even with all those guys, even with the guys that they lost. The big one for them was Sergachev being out last night. Sergachev makes that team a lot better. But still, I don't see the determination from Tampa Bay in the regular season to win. That's why I don't think they'll. That's why I took them to be like third in the conference, because they don't have a sense of urgency when they play against teams, just about anybody. No, I know. Evison, yeah, he could be in the. Evison could definitely. Right now, because they lost Suter, they lost Parise, and but I think that him having Kaprizov and some of the talent they have there, people will overlook them, and it depends how easily they make it into the playoffs. No way Gallant would get it at the moment. Shesterkin is winning games for them all day. They're getting outplayed and still winning games. Yes, we talked about it, Whitefield, that Detroit won last night. We already talked about it. I don't want to talk about my Oilers for just give me a little bit to get myself back into a positive mode before we talk about that game anymore. That was disgusting. He's killing it? I wouldn't say that. Like I said, Shesterkin's winning a lot of the games for them. Look at the game they played against Florida. They were outshot 45-18, man. 45-18. They got a sweet goal from Miller, and not the greatest performance from Spencer Knight, but Shesterkin just stopped everything like he's been doing so far. So more than a lot of the time, great goaltending performances prevent really good coaches from not getting it. 45-18, they got outshot. And they've been getting outshot a lot. They've been getting outplayed a lot. See, I can't give it to him yet. I think Gallant's doing a good job at that lineup. He's got a young group, a lot of new players, and a totally different philosophy. And fortunately for them, they have Shesterkin. Otherwise, they probably wouldn't even be in it right now. You trade Shesterkin for an average goaltender in the league, they're probably 3-7 or something like that. Yeah, Bilesma won and Adams, and he had Fleury. Yeah, it does have. I mean, I'm not saying that they can't. It just makes it a little more difficult to get. When you did Ruff ever win one with Hasek? I don't think did Lindy Ruff win a Jack Adams? Maybe he did. Let me look it up. I don't think so. He was a finalist, but he never won one. And that was with Dallas, I think. Yeah, that was with Dallas. And that team that went to the finals that year shouldn't even have made the playoffs. No, he didn't win one. He was a finalist for Dallas. Who else? Tortorella won one with Javi Bulin. This is interesting. I should think about that. Tortorella won one with Javi Bulin. Yeah, well, they're feeding him and feeding him and feeding him. Let me see Jack Adams winners. Brindamore won. He had basically Nedeljkovic. Cassidy, you could say Rask. There's one. Barry Trotz with the New York Islanders. Varlamov, but he's probably not going to be a Hall of Famer or anything. Oh, Gerard Gallant won one with Fleury, too. Tortorella won one with Bobrovsky. Trotz with Holtby. Bob Hartley won one in Calgary. I can't even remember who the goaltender was at that time. Who was the goaltender for Colorado when Waugh won his? He did win in 06? Okay, so that would have been with Hasek. So, or maybe it was Miller. Miller, yeah. Woo! Ricketts is in the house. Woo! It was Miller. Okay. Right, Hasek was before that. So, but that's what I mean. I mean, the year they went to the finals, that team shouldn't have made the playoffs, but it was all because of Dominic Hasek. It was probably because of Lindy Ruff's coaching, but thanks for the crack research staff. Yes, that's right. I'm trying to think who was in net for Colorado when Waugh won his Jack Adams Award. Obviously, it's not somebody that pops into my head right away. So I think Bob Hartley won one in Colorado as well. But no, did he win one when Waugh was in net? Because that would have been Waugh, right? Patrick Waugh was in net. Let's see. Lindy Ruff did get one in 06. Alan Bango got one with Luongo. Bruce Boudreau got one with Holtby. Julian got one with Rask. So there's one where, but Rask doesn't get the credit he deserves, never has. So that's probably why too. I think Julian got two. Could be wrong. Remember, Dave Tippett got one. Dave Tippett got a Coach of the Year with Smith. CL. I didn't see his. I don't think Tyrion ever got one. Going back, Crawford got one with us at Quebec Nordique, so we're going way back here. I didn't see Chris Tyrion here anywhere. You got to remember when Bilesma got his too, Fleury was getting undervalued quite a bit as well. I don't see Tyrion here anywhere. Everybody blasts Green, yeah. Yeah, I don't think he's a bad coach, but he's got a bad team. He's got a poor defense there. He's got a poor defense in Vancouver. I was watching a game last night, and they were bragging up Myers. The commentators were bragging up Myers. I was like, have you looked at the dude's analytics, man? They're playing him like half the game on the top line, and then they play him on the bottom line. Second, you know, if you're putting all your chips in with Myers, you don't have a very good defense. That's for sure. Jim Benning should be blasted, yeah. I wonder how far away that's going to be. Jim Benning getting blasted, because it looked like he went all in Vancouver, getting Ekman Larson and what's his name from Arizona? Love that guy. I don't know why his name won't come to me, but it looked like he went all in. It looked like an all-in move, and if it doesn't work, I could see him getting fired finally. It's about time. Make him a scout. He's really good at scouting. Just let him be head of scouting or whatever. I don't. What are you going to pass on to those players, though? They don't have the physical tools to do it. They just don't have the physical tools there in Vancouver, I think. I think that overall, their grinding players are too small. Their big players are too soft. On defense, it's pretty much the same. Myers is soft as can be. Every once in a while, he hits somebody by mistake and looks like a big hit. But besides that, I mean, Hamanuk was probably one of their best shutdown guys they have, and he looks like he's having a terrible time. They just sent him down to the AHL. You got Tucker Poolman, who shouldn't be in anybody's top six, and they're paying him like that's a bad team. Babcock is probably overrated when you look at his whole body of work. Yeah, he had a really good team in Detroit. He was good at tooting his own horn, apparently, and I don't know. And then there's some areas where he was in Toronto. When he was in Toronto, I think if they would have listened to him, they would have been better off. And by the time they did listen to him, they went and got players that he needed more players there that can, and they still need it now. Is Sheldon Keefe a bad coach too? Or is this a poorly made up team? I'd say the latter. I'd say it's a poorly made up team. Toronto is not any better, no. But how much better are they going to be? I don't know. I guess you'd have to try. What would Barry Trotz do with that lineup? That would be interesting. Take the great coaches in the game and see what they could do with that lineup and tell me what they can do with that lineup. When it comes to Vancouver and Toronto, it's sort of the same thing. He was saying that they needed some obviously physical, and they sort of did that afterwards to a certain extent. And they said, well, that the players didn't fit his style. What coach's style is soft and weak-minded? I mean, what coach has a style of that? Yeah, well, he won in Detroit, and then he didn't win after that a lot. So I'd say he's overrated, but I'm not so sure I can pin that on the fact that he didn't get it going in Toronto. The fact is he didn't, though. So it's between Ovechkin and Draisaitl right now, isn't it? I think Draisaitl will probably win it. It should be Matthews, but I still say Matthews has got the best shot in the league, but he is I think there's just too much pressure on him there in Toronto to be everything. Yeah, probably Dre. Dre's more the scorer out of the two. Yeah, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's Ovechkin. Don't get me wrong. I mean, the guy's an absolute beast. I just think that Washington team is going to wear down over time. Their depth is not very good. Everybody blames. Yeah, and I don't think it's Travis Green's fault. Fans of teams don't like to blame the players. The coaches are the easier one because if it's the players, they're in bigger trouble. Like you, as a fan of a team, you don't really want to convince yourself that the players are the problem. Because if you do, then it gets depressing. Because the players are harder to change around and all that stuff like that. So the coach is the one that you want to hope that it's the coach. Please tell me it's the coach, because if it's the players, we're in trouble. Yeah, I mean, the fact that he is scoring without Backstrom is pretty impressive, though. Yeah, I think Draisaitl will probably take it as long as he keeps going the way he is right now and doesn't get injured. Well, yeah, he could win all three. He could do a Gretzky and win all of them for sure. Yeah, Jim Benning really did not do a good job with that roster. Yeah, it's simple as that. He didn't do a very good job with that roster. He drafted well. He's got guys like Podkolzin does look really good, like Lauren said. And they have guys that look really good on that team. Miller was a good pickup, but he hasn't been doing all that great this year either. The reason why Miller got traded so much though is he's whiny. He's very complainy. Yeah, I know. I know you love Podkolzin. He looks like a good one for sure. They put him up there sometimes, Lauren. I think they just got to put him up there now. You look at the Vancouver team. Look at the Vancouver team. They played pretty well last night against Anaheim, but Anaheim was just very patient. Yeah, they got him playing. They have him here with Dickinson and Garland. And that's not. I don't know why Tanner Pearson is up here. I have no idea. Because you can't play him anywhere else but the top six, I guess. What else is he gonna do? I don't even know why they gave him that contract. JT Miller is their best player, well, highest scoring player right now. And it's getting a lot of wondering going on with what Elias Peterson is going to be. Where is that shot that he had? It's gone. I never see him using it anymore. Oh, sweet. T-shirts coming soon. Nice. Yeah, it's taken a while for him to adjust to the team, all right. It's But I mean, they overplayed him, so you got to kind of treat him with kid hands right now, I think. They overplayed KK. Don't you think? Montreal overplayed him when he was young, and now they're touching him. Now they're using kid gloves with him and slowly trying to work him. Basically, they're developing him as if he was an 18-year-old all over again. So But I like it. I like his attitude. I think he's going to be fine. It's just going to take a little bit. Possibly, yeah. Yeah, I don't think there's a timeline for Kokaniemi. They'll start to see the confidence come back and the swagger come back. And him start doing all the little things. That's the big thing with KK, right? Is first you learn the little things, then you work on the offense aspect of it. And in Montreal, I mean, that was crazy. They put him up on the top line right away from the time he was just a kid. And of course, his body wore down, and he starts to wonder, am I going to be an NHLer? Like, that's the biggest thing. That's the reason why they don't rush kids into the league, because it's a tough league. It's rough and tough. And like to the ultimate extent. Bob Murray on leave, yeah. I don't know. I'm not even going to speak to that because I know nothing about what's going on with that. He did something, and that's all we know. They're not making it public past that. So, I don't know if they had much of a choice because apparently he didn't want to be in Montreal anymore. So if you're a general manager and you're thinking, what are you going to do here? And the guy obviously doesn't want to sign a long-term contract with you. And then even tells his agent to go find somebody to do what they did. What are you going to do? Now that a lot of that could have been the way they used him, right? You know, he's talking to his agent, he's talking to people outside, and people are telling him Montreal didn't develop you well. You should have been down in the minors for a while. He's hearing all the things that we all know. Yeah, well, yeah, it's see that's how his agent. The reason why Carolina makes that move is behind the scenes. His agent is. Let's look at it. First of all, his name was coming up in the trade rumors for Eichel. So, do you want to go to Buffalo? In the playoffs, they weren't playing him, and I don't think he liked that too much. Then you see what we all see, where they played him too early, and he's probably getting advice from people that they didn't develop you well, and then you just start to have a lack of trust for the organization, and there could have been other things too. I don't know, but so you're going to get traded to Buffalo. Maybe even behind the scenes, he already asked for a trade, and that's what speculation is. He already asked for a trade. That's why they started calling Buffalo and see if they could do something with Kokaniemi. And then so nothing's going there, or you think you're going to go to Buffalo, right? You call your agent up and go, "Hey, buddy, can you save me here somehow? See if you can find somebody that'll offer sheet him." And the agent goes, "Well, maybe Carolina's probably the first one we call since what happened with Aho." And then Carolina does it and rubs their nose in it while they do it. Maybe, like I said, though, if he already wanted out, but that's their own mismanagement too. If he was already talking about getting traded, and then he decided to, if his agent helped him be able to go where he wanted to go, because he had no leverage as to where he would get traded. Besides the fact that he wouldn't sign with a certain team or whatever the case may be, that's about all he had. So they might have thought into the future, but they bobbled that already. Kokaniemi shouldn't have been playing as early as he was. Simple as that. He wasn't ready to be at 18 years old to play in the league. I don't. And now look with Caulfield going down to the AHL. And they did that to Kokaniemi too. They played him. put him down into the AHL when he should have already been in the AHL. And now Caulfield is in the same boat. Yeah, I think they had him on the block because he asked to be on the block. How do you know he didn't? I heard that he asked, but it was never made public that he asked. I don't know if he actually asked, but it makes a lot of sense. He doesn't even have to ask. All you got to do is they're in the middle of contract talks, and if he's just saying I want a 1-year deal, that's basically asking. So that's asking to be traded. If you say that I only want a 1-year deal, if I'm not going to sign a long-term deal. Dvorak certainly hasn't looked like a bat out of hell like people thought he was going to look. So, well, how many points is? I mean, the whole team has looked bad, so maybe that's not fair, but he's part of the team. What's he got? 5 points in 14 games. I didn't think he was an incredible shutdown guy. Oh, he's back, by the way. He's playing. He was on the injured reserve there for a bit. Philip Danault was a huge loss, and you saw it against LA. Like, Dvorak is not Philip Danault. No, not even close. So that wasn't much of a replacement. So you lose Kotkaniemi, Philip Danault, Perry, what's his name on defense there? Price not playing. Ben Chirac getting traded? Maybe. You know what? With Montreal, trying to predict what Montreal is going to do is next to impossible. I don't know. They got to be the most unpredictable team in the league, I would say. I got to get you guys up here on my. I can't predict what Montreal is going to do. Well, one thing that was great getting Danault for sure was how it affected Kopitar. Kopitar can be a much more offensive player now. He doesn't have to be the shutdown guy anymore. And he went straight to LA. There was rumblings of him wanting out of Montreal for a while when he did that too, because back when Max Domi was there, he kept on saying all the time in the media, I'm a second line center, I'm a second line center, I'm a second line center. So he was publicly expressing himself, which gives me the impression that Montreal was not saying, hey, you're our second line center for sure. And, I think he kind of took offense to that, or at least thought, first of all, I'm going to get paid like a second line center. That's it. Apparently, Montreal offered him the same amount of money, and he went to LA anyways. So he obviously felt underappreciated. Starting to see a theme here. Start feeling underappreciated. Ben Sherratt would be that would be a good place for Ben Sherratt. Ottawa wants defensemen, period, and centers. Yeah, what would you sell in Montreal? I doubt they will, but you're probably right. Maybe they will. Maybe that's the whole point. They went for it last year and they're going to fire sell it all off this year. Maybe that's the thing. I wouldn't want to do that to Dvorak if I were them. With their tax situation, it's already hard enough to get free agents, but who's got no movement clauses and stuff? They're not trading Gallagher, and it's been rumored, but I can't see it. Who are they going to trade? Mike Hoffman? Trade Dvorak already? Tyler Toffoli? None of them have no movement clauses. Petrie has a no movement clause. Sherratt does. Sherratt has a moderate no movement clause. Savard, Kulak. Yeah, they could grab a whole bunch of they could grab a whole bunch of draft picks for sure. Jonathan Drouin, he's hurt again. Well, I don't know if you won't get much for Chris Weidman. You pretty much put a guy like that on waivers. Chris Weidman is not a guy that really gets traded. Possibly. I mean, somebody really needs depth way down in their roster. You might get a 7th for him or something like that. But more than likely, he just goes on waivers. If you got Weidman in your top 6, you're in trouble for sure. No doubt about that. But you never know. They could fire sell it all off. It just, Montreal never seems to do that. They always try to do things quickly. That was the whole point against Suzuki and Kotkaniemi. There we got our top 2. Let's go win a cup. You might, yeah, I don't know how much value you're going to get for Jake Allen now after the year he's having, though. Holy crap. That's really the number one problem. If they actually had a goaltender back there, they might have been a lot better off this year. But Jake Allen has been just an absolute disaster. But I would say fire sell. Keep Suzuki. Of course you got to keep because Suzuki, he's part of what you would want to have as a rebuild. Caulfield. The thing is you signed all these free agents. What kind of promises did you give them? It just doesn't look very good to be taking free agents and then just shipping them all off like that. However, they might have an out because they probably told them we're going for it right now. And it's pretty obvious that they're not going for it now. So, Connor Murphy, I suppose he could. It's going to be interesting to see what that general manager does with the Chicago Blackhawks. He said that he's coming in with a different philosophy. They don't have he won't have the same philosophy. Well, the philosophy for Chicago seemed to be like keep everything up in wraps. We're going to do a rebuild and let these guys learn how to be winners from our veterans, so we won't tell them we're doing a rebuild. Because if we tell them we're doing a rebuild, it's not going to be the same. If they believe they're going for it every year, they're going to be prepared and ready and play like they're going for it. And these kids are going to see what it takes, what it means to do that. So, Jake Allen in a first. Maybe maybe next year's first unprotected and still no. Vasilevsky's going nowhere. No way you're trading the best goaltender in the league, that's for sure. I don't know who they would get now. Well, Price will be there. Fleury will probably get. I don't know. We'll see what they do now that they play this new defensive system that they have. But I would love to see Fleury go to Pittsburgh again. We like being mediocre, yeah. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it seems to be that way every time a team kind of doesn't really do a rebuild. They try it for a while and then it ends up being a total rebuild. Trying to think of a team that didn't happen with. Philadelphia kind of rebuilt fast. Hasn't really worked yet, but we'll see. Well, Chicago, I mean, you got to think they did draft well. They got Kirby Dach. You know, they got guys like that. So they weren't like bottom of the league. One of the reasons why they did that, I think, is they had contracts that were pretty much untradeable. So that was one of the reasons why they did it that way. Taves, I can't say it's totally untradeable, but I don't know what the value would get on Taves at $10 million. Plus, they have complete like ironclad no movement clauses. So they only are going to go if you ask them, which apparently they didn't. And then I imagine both of them are going to, really be specific as to where they want to go, which totally decreases the value of that trade. Which Canadian team do I think? I guess I'd have to say the Edmonton Oilers. Depending on what Calgary does, maybe Calgary. But I still don't think they have the manpower to win a cup yet. Winnipeg has an opportunity. They got Hellebuck. That defense isn't looking too bad. They've got a lot of depth. Oh, the giveaway from Skinner, I didn't see it, but I mean, with all the giveaways that Skinner does, I would be hard pressed to figure out, like, if I Googled giveaway by Skinner, I'd probably have a lot of hours on my hands to watch. Lankinen could be traded? Probably not. He's like the perfect goaltender to rebuild around. He's not that great, but he's good enough. So, and he's young, and he probably has a lot of upside yet. You had one on FanDuel? Give it away now. I guess he likes it. It must be his favorite song, I would say. Yeah, which one are you talking about? You got to be like much more specific if you're going to talk about Skinner's giveaway. Like, I'm going to need to know the time on the clock when it happened, the day, what period. I'm going to need to know, get pretty specific there, because I don't have all day to watch Skinner giveaways to find out which one it was. Oh, Top Shelf Hockey said that? Okay. We probably heard it from someone, I guess. I don't know. If it was me, I would trade Fleury for the value you're going to get for him. He's not going to come back next year anyways. And I suppose you could trade Lankinen, since if you're going to rebuild, you don't really need a goaltender anyways. Maybe they got a young goaltender down there that they like. Yeah, I know it's trade rumors, yeah. I've listened to Hot Take. I don't know what his name is, though. all I heard is he's questionable for tonight. Game time decision. So I don't know. I'm definitely all over Philadelphia if Tavares is. Tavares has been their best player as far as I'm concerned so far this year. And if he's out, David Comp has to be. Kerfoot goes to the middle and Engvall goes up there. Ouch. Pretty sure Philadelphia will spit that lineup out. I think. Chew them up and spit it out. Yeah, I could see him. I mean, he's replaceable, so why not, I guess, if you're going for draft picks. Whoever, somebody needs a backup, you'll get a 4th or 5th round full pick for him or something like that. Kasha could be out, no loss, but for them, I guess anybody out is a loss because they don't really have anybody to replace him. That was the problem with Toronto. Their team depth is brutal. Brutal, brutal, brutal. Team depth. Oh, the Calgary game last night. Did you guys watch the Calgary game last night? They totally outplayed San Jose. That one really ticked me off. They completely out. Hill finally has the best game of the season and wins that game for San Jose. Like, Calgary should have had that game all the way through. They outshot them. They out everything them. If Jack Campbell goes down, they're screwed. They're done. There's no way they make the playoffs without him, I think. Leo Komarov expected to be placed on unconditional waivers. Leo Komarov is going to the KHL. Yeah, I think the Flyers win that game all day. Yeah, they still should beat that team. Maybe a period steal. We might be able to. Oh yeah, we got to do that thing. We haven't even talked about that. Wall not back tonight. I didn't. He's not backing up tonight. Who's backing up tonight for Toronto? Okay. They had him on an emergency loan, so I don't see any other goaltenders that they could use. Did they bring up Michael Hutchinson or what? Well, we were going to do that weekly thing where we just talk random hockey stuff. Kind of forgot about that. Been really busy working on a few things. Yeah, I don't know who it would be. I would, the only one I could think it would be Hutchinson. Yeah, Troy Terry is lighting it up. Confidence coming out of the yin yang. Holy crap. Watching that guy play, he reminds me of Fiala. Like a couple of years ago when Fiala was used on the top line. Dallas Eakins is looking like a better and better coach all the time, isn't it? Yeah, they're right. I think Detroit's right on the edge, man. Now that Stevie Y knows that they actually have top line right wingers in Bertuzzi and Raymond and Larkin a top line, possibly next year finally they could start looking at some free agents and building this up. I'm gonna have to give a maybe to that, to doing that live stream tonight. I got we got Caroline's got a day off tomorrow, so the wall is a scratch. I didn't know that, so I don't know I didn't hear them calling up Hutchinson or whatever. Maybe Mrazek is back. I don't think so. Isn't he on long-term IR? That whole Ducks team is playing with the air of confidence, like they are going to be a problem with everybody they play against. They feel like, and I was talking about that with Trevor Zegras. I think that probably rubs off on them. Like Zegras doesn't understand not win. Like it doesn't compute in his head at all. To him, it's like we're winning and that's it. And he's a great motivator and what's the word I'm looking for? Encourager, an amazing encourager. And I think he's really helped that team off a lot already in his young age. Future captain for sure, Trevor Zegras. For weeks? I have no idea who's a backup for Toronto. No idea. If he's out, I have no idea. I haven't checked. Let me see here. Where the heck? There we go. Oh, we didn't even talk about Nashville and that's going to be that's a tough game to pick who's going to do well. Who does Nashville play tomorrow? They're on a back-to-back apparently. St. Louis. So where are they going to play their backup here? I have a feeling Nashville could play their backup tonight. In which case, you got to be all over Dallas on that one. But Dallas has been playing way more aggressive lately. Like the first 10 games, they were playing so back on their heels. But lately, they're playing way more aggressive. And so, yeah, that's an interesting game. Ingram wasn't all that great his last outing. He's just a kid. Doesn't say that he's going to be in, but they haven't said that Saros is going to be in. And if you watch, did you watch Bennington and Winnipeg last night? Bennington was insane last night, man. Totally won that game for St. Louis. Another one where that was a game of a night of teams outplaying the other team. Winnipeg outplayed St. Louis all game. No doubt about it. But Binnington was just unconscious last night. And so if he's going to be like that every game, I think I got to lead St. Louis just about every night. And they're missing Krug. They got like a really thin defense right now. But he was just unconscious. He was stopping everything, including in the shootout. Binnington in the shootout last night had one glove hand save that was just amazing. But yeah, it was too bad. Winnipeg didn't get the points they should have last night. They definitely outplayed St. Louis. Yeah, I would think if it's going to be Hutchinson will be the backup. Yeah. How long are they going to play Campbell to death? Sooner or later, they got to put. Oh, Hill had 2 assists. Yeah, he played the best game of the year for sure for him. Like he's struggled this year. I think everybody in the land thought that was going to be an over for sure, and he played like a bat out of heck last night. Calgary certainly outplayed them all the way through. It looked like it was going to be Calgary for sure, but Hill just stopped everything. Oh, week 5. If Chicago can get going, it would be Fleury, but I don't know. Hill obviously is playing the puck a lot, and they've got a team there that is totally built on transition. So the thing is I don't know how much they're going to play the crap out of Hill. It looks like they're kind of going 50-50 with Hill and Reimer right now. So, but besides that, goaltender with the most points. Who's a goaltender that plays the puck well? Ottawa. Yeah, it's funny, there aren't too many goaltenders that stand out as great puck movers besides Smith, and that comes back and bites him a lot. I would have to say Hill. I would probably have to say Hill. That type of team that they have, and he plays the puck a lot. I could see them getting a lot because even when you just pass it to Carlson or Burns, anyways, they're going to get the puck up the ice quick, and they make long pass, quick goals. So Hill would seem to make a lot of sense. But that Winnipeg game last night, I felt for Winnipeg. It sucks when you completely outplay a team and you just that there's nothing just seems that you can do to get a win. And that's pretty much what it was last night. Like it didn't seem like there was anything they could do. The Bruins just barely beat Ottawa too. And I don't know. I am told that I'm concerned for that Boston Bruins team. Their defense doesn't look good. Their depth does not look good. Fortunately for them, they're getting really good goaltending, but they're just relying too much on that top line, I think. Who got the points for the Devils last night? Andreas Johansson, pot and goals. Who saw that coming? Andreas Johansson. Johnson, Mercer, and I can't remember who else is on that line. They're playing really well. Zaka Potts is 6th. Jeremy Holtz got his first, I think that's his first point in the NHL. And Jimmy Vesey might have actually found a home in the NHL finally. You tell me Lindy Ruff is not a good coach. What about Lindy Ruff for Adams this year? If New Jersey can put it all together and make the playoffs this year, he gets his second Adams. Uh-oh. Nick Ritchie is playing with Mitch Marner and Kerfoot. Oh my gosh. Yeah, take Philadelphia all night. Philadelphia, Philadelphia, Philadelphia. That is a horrible line. Nick Ritchie goes in the corner, hits somebody, and the puck is lying there for Kerfoot to go try to get it, and Kerfoot falls down, and they go the other way. And Matthews is wondering when he's ever going to get the puck all night. Not a good call. Whenever I say this and I ridicule a team though, and they come out and win. Yeah, Ritchie is a way overpriced fourth line player. $2 million a year on a team that needs cap desperately. And now apparently he's going to get another chance to be on the top line. Nick Ritchie has so many lives, it's crazy. In Anaheim, they played him a lot on the top two lines because he was supposed to be an offensive power forward. But he plays totally lost in his own zone. He can hit when he catches somebody, but he doesn't know what to do after that. No, that's not going to work. No, that's not going to work. I thought Ritchie was a good gamble, but it didn't work out, that's for sure. And Bunting looks like he's slowing down a tad too. I still got, oh yeah, Kerfoot. It doesn't have that on cap friendly yet, but it could be that. So that would be Kerfoot. Where Kerfoot would go to the right side. Where's Kerfoot going to play on that line? They're both left wingers. I don't know how that would work. And if Tavares is out, I thought they would put Kerfoot in the middle. I don't get that. That means David Kampf is going to play second line with Bunting and Marner? Oh, I don't know. Terrible line combinations there, that's for sure. Okay, 2:30. I'm going to take my quick break. I'll be right back. Sorry about that. Had to get some water. Throat was a little tired. Yeah, I got to go Philadelphia. When you look at what Philadelphia has got to go up against that lineup. First of all, Carter Hart's been playing very good, which is great. What does he have for .926? Yeah. Uh, Ryan Ellis is day to day. He should be coming back soon, but I don't think he's going to be back tonight. But Proba, Braun has 7 points in 10 games. Imagine that. But Ristolainen and Sanheim, they've been pretty good together. It's been a whole team defense with them, though. And Claude Giroux, Couturier, and Konechny line has been absolutely fantastic. And then, they have more depth through their lineup against a team like Toronto that all they got to do is shut down that top line. Which isn't even really all that top of a line right now. So I think Philadelphia wins that game. I'm surprised that there's a lot of people going Toronto tonight, and I don't know why. I would say Philadelphia tonight. If Ingram is in for Nashville, I like Dallas. And of course, we didn't even talk about Minnesota, Arizona. Okay? I know Arizona's played better, but what is Arizona going to do against that Minnesota offensive zone pressure that they have? Like, this should be like Harlem Globetrotters type stuff, where the way they pass the puck in the offensive zone is beautiful. And if you want to lose to Arizona, dump and chase with them, because they just try to keep the game simple. But if you can get possession in the offensive zone and pass it around like Minnesota can, I just can't see them not winning that game by a significant amount. They should actually trounce that game, I think. Arizona might have their opportunity down the road, but not tonight. Not tonight. I can't see it. The only thing that could happen is they play Vegas the next day. Maybe they overlook because they're on a back-to-back. And they got Kakinen. Kakinen has a bad game. But besides that, what's Arizona have after this? Arizona, maybe Chicago. Maybe Chicago, like not likely. Nashville's the type of team that they could give a go, because Nashville doesn't play like a high skill game either. Chicago does. Chicago should be able to play. Actually, now that I think about it, Chicago should be able to win that fairly handily too. But Nashville, they might be able to get. But that'll be 3 games in 4 nights by the time they hit Nashville. So, and on a back-to-back. Wow. Tough schedule. Arizona, that's the other thing. It's not even that they've been all that bad. They've just had a really brutal schedule, like almost all road games. I was thinking the other day what would happen if Chicago decided to do a complete rebuild, and where Taves and Kane could go. We were talking about that the other day, where Taves and Kane could go. They only got 1 year left on their contract. All right, 2 years. 2 years left at on their contract at 2.5 mil, at 10.5 mil both. And I think we had Boston Bruins being one. If Boston could get, like, if they were willing to take, geez, who would they have to take here? I think they'd have to take Charlie Coyle plus. It'd be a tough trade. They might not have to give up too much either because, hey, Bill, how you doing? I was just talking about where, like, if Taves was traded, where he would go. I think Boston would be a strong possibility. But the thing is, Chicago won't get much in return because they're going to trade Taves exactly where he wants to go. So if he was cool with going to Boston, they probably would get like Charlie Coyle and a picks or something like that. But for Jonathan Taves, if Chicago decided to do an actual rebuild, because the general manager said he has a different philosophy than the previous management. And by that, he could mean that, he could bring in Taves in the office and say, what team do you want to go to? We're going to move on here and continue with our rebuild. We would like to. First of all, I'd have to ask him is, would you waive your no trade clause? And if he says no, then there's nothing you can do. But if you start using the rebuild word, I have a feeling he would probably consider it. The thing is, he set up roots in Chicago. So I don't think he'd want to go too far away from that. I have no idea. Alcohol addiction? I'm not sure. Patrick Kane to the Boston Bruins? I think they would be more in on Taves because they need that center position really bad. But maybe it's close to Buffalo, where he's from. And if Taves isn't the guy, maybe Kane is the guy. It's possible. Yeah, I mean, somewhere around that Buffalo area. New York Rangers, not quite ready yet. He'd want to go somewhere where, for sure, they have a full cup, a chance for another cup, I imagine. Yeah, we talked about that before. If Edmonton got Kane. He put an apology letter out for the behavior. What? Just recently or what? Where is this apology letter? Kyle Beach, right? Not Chris Beach. Kyle Beach speaks out. I don't see anything about that, bud. You got a link or something for that? Yeah, Boston would definitely be looking for defensemen, so Connor Beach to the Boston Bruins does make sense. Heard about on the Habs Tonight channel. It's Kyle Beach, right? Kyle Beach apology letter. Look it up. Yeah, the whole Ottawa Senators team is pretty much out. They actually had a pretty gutsy. They had a pretty gutsy performance last night against Boston, actually, with all those guys out. No, I don't see anything on it that he put out an apology letter. But anyways, yeah, Boston would seem like a really good team because they're going. They got to go for it now. Their window is pretty much shut. It's obvious that team is not. That team is not at this moment a contender. I don't, but for sure, I would say. So I could definitely see them going after somebody like Taves, somebody like that, because they've only got 2 years left on their contract. The thing is they'd have to work it out cap wise, which would mean Charlie Coyle, and then next year they got to make room and all that kind of stuff like that. And I think it would depend a lot on what Jonathan Toews can be for the rest of the season too, or Kane. But I I don't know, unless they're just gonna say, you know what, we're never gonna be good enough. They could come to the realization that no matter what they add, they're just, and now, it's, I don't know, what are they going to do if Boston wants to rebuild? You're going to keep that top line together forever? You can't trade Pasternak. That would be an interesting rebuild right there. Which they're you what's it? Lauren was talking about retools and that's what Boston is really trying to do. And yeah, they just generally don't work. I just did Kyle Beach apology letter and nothing came up. Kyle Beach apology letter. Nothing. Catholic bishop apologizes to community. It would be all over Twitter, right? No. Kyle Beach, NBC News. One week ago, wrong at every level. Commissioner says, I got nothing, dude. NBCnews.com. Okay, I'll look that up too. says the website is risky. NBCnews.com. Okay. Politics, COVID-19, U.S. news. I don't see anything, man. You're going to have to help me out there. I don't see anything on it. Blackhawks apologize for dismissing. Oh, yeah, okay. I thought you were saying that Chris Beach apologized for something. Now, I thought you said Chris Beach was apologizing for something. Or Kyle Beach. Why do I call him Chris Beach all the time? Kyle Beach. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, the Chicago Blackhawks apologized for whatever they did. I'd like to know how much so what are they saying? Is Rocky Wirtz saying that he knew back then too? Does Rocky Wirtz have anything be a $2 million fine? That's it? That's a sneeze. Joel Quenneville is erased from the NHL. Bowman basically erased from the NHL. And all Rocky Wirtz is, oh, we're sorry. Yeah, we're sorry. I fired a couple people, paid $2 million that I just made in the time that I spoke about this, and so really sorry, really sorry. You got two people's careers are done, dude. Pretty much, probably. Rocky Wirtz. Their mismanagement. You knew. Rocky knew the whole time. Now, I don't know this for a fact, but I'm going to bet he knew first before anyone else. And he was the one that gave misinformation to what was going on. And what do they get? Two guys get fired for it. Two guys are fired out of the league. So Rocky Wirtz, what happens? You're an owner of the Chicago Blackhawks still? You got to sell the team. Sell the team. Sell the team at half the price. There. Now we're talking about a $700 million, maybe $1 billion organization. You sell it for $500 million. You have to do that right now. Probably they have no legal standing to do that, but there's got to be something you can do. There's got to be something that says, if you don't do anything else, you did too much to two guys already. I think Rocky Wirtz was the biggest problem out of the whole thing. And you scapegoated two underlings to, backpedal because you backpedaled on something that happened a long time ago that you knew about. The only thing I can hope is that Rocky Wirtz pays out Quenneville and he does something. I don't know. Starts a foundation or something, because I don't understand why when it first came out that Rocky Wirtz wasn't the first one that everybody was pointing a finger at. It was everyone else. They all want to point the fingers at the guys on the bottom. Really. What about the guy at the top? What about the guy that is the one that is supposed to do something about this ultimately and is supposed to have ultimate authority in the situation he's in? Yeah, but I mean, he got fired from Florida for this situation. I don't know how much he actually knew, but I do know that Cheveldayoff, who they didn't touch, said in that meeting that they were talking about, he didn't believe that anyone would have come to the conclusions that what happened happened. Anyone. Really. No one would come to that conclusion. So, yeah, maybe Bowman was probably doing what he was told to do. You think Bowman didn't tell, hey, we got this situation here to Rocky Wirtz? You think he just, don't tell Rocky, I'm going to go do this? I just don't believe it for a freaking second. I don't believe it. He was doing what he was told to do. And he's the one that's out of the... I don't believe it. I just don't believe it. I'm just going by odds here. Odds say that Rocky knew what happened, exactly what happened. He might have known, or at least he knew what Kyle Beach was saying happened, and he knew what the other fellow was saying happened. And he told Bowman, let's keep it under wraps for now. We'll wait till after the playoffs. But no, Rocky Wirtz comes out and acts like he knew nothing about it. To me, he has to get the highest punishment if you're going to do a punishment. Now, what does he get? $2 million. Whoop-de-doo. $2 million. So, it's the way it works, right? You got all the monies. The NHL doesn't want to go into a lawsuit with Rocky Wirtz, I would imagine. And let's take it even further than that. I highly doubt that the league didn't know about a lot about it before too. At least they knew about the accusation. And how much did the league follow up on that? So what happens to the league in that situation? It's so easy just to fire a couple underlings and move on, right? So yeah, that's right. They're acting like they're doing something and they're just doing damage control as much as they possibly can. Acting like they're being transparent and all of that stuff like that, but they're not. They're not being transparent. They're not telling the whole truth. I don't believe it for a second. Just by the way, they put out an apology of some kind where they, for the Chicago Blackhawks organization, not me, not Rocky Wirtz coming out and saying, I got to apologize for not digging deeper into that situation at the time. No. Now it's the Chicago Blackhawks organization, which I happen to be part of. Right? Like, don't give me that nonsense. I don't believe it for a second. I don't believe it for a second. So, and then what's going to happen is there'll be a civil suit, and Kyle Beach will take care of his family, and I don't blame him for that. That's his choice to do. That's his choice, however he wants to do it. Although it's going to look bad on him. And like usual, the big wallets, the big money, they move on with their days, and everything goes the way it was before. I agree. My score prediction? I'm not supposed to give that. I think you got Campbell in there. I'll say 4-2. 4-2 Philly. I'll say 4-2 Philly. That's right, 4-2. I think the line is 6, so there you go. It's a push. I gave you Philly already. If you watched, actually I didn't do a video today, so I'm probably not going to do a video tomorrow either. So be back. We got a day off tomorrow. I may not be on tomorrow. I'm thinking about just taking the whole day off because it's Remembrance Day here. So I'm leaning towards taking the day off tomorrow. You got a lot. Remembrance Day and all, you know, be a good idea, I think. Anyways, that's my full 42, guys. Thanks for coming in. You guys are amazing. Awesome. Love having you on. If you don't get a notification tomorrow, it's because I won't be here. If you do, then I will be, and I'll see you tomorrow. If not, I will definitely be here Friday. Have a great day, everybody. Lots of love to you. Okay, bye.